doesn't matter.
Okay.
I'm not even sure that everything we know has been communicated to our presidents. It's
Interesting.
not. I
Interesting.
mean, if you completely trust
diverse faiths and beliefs are showing up.
Partisan panel joining us in 2 minutes. We'll be right back. All right, you're watching live now on this State of the Union Sunday. This State of the Union Tuesday, what am I talking about? A live look at the White House, 8:20 in the nation's capital, but we're keeping our eye on Capitol Hill, watching some of these big names filter into the room as the evening progresses. We've seen Kristi Noem enter the building. We've seen Howard Lutnick enter the building so far. A separate angle, kind of getting a side profile of these people as they walk in. What I want to do here next is talk a little bit about both sides of the aisle. One thing that I track so closely anytime we do events and coverage like this, I always make a point to speak with analysts and experts, ranging from GOP strategists to Republican strategists and Democratic strategists. By the way, we will be airing Trump's State of the Union speech in full tonight. The name of our game here at Live Now is to air things live and uninterrupted. So as soon as the Sergeant at Arms announces that the president is entering the chamber, we will go out to it live, uninterrupted, no commercial breaks. All right, let's bring in our bipartisan panel. Paul Renner is a former Republican Speaker of the House in Florida. He's also running for Florida governor, and David Colucci is a former New York State Senator and Democratic strategist. They're both here. So firstly, guys, let's just keep an eye on these live vantage points. I don't want to miss anybody coming in. Let's start off with you, Paul. What does the GOP need this speech to accomplish tonight?
Well, you always want to address the issues on the minds of voters. And I think it's always the economy, and there's progress in terms of tax relief from the big, beautiful bill. There's progress in energy prices and the president's move in that regard, but also addressing the areas that hurt a little bit, which is prices have gone up a lot faster than incomes across the country. Not necessarily the president's fault, but it's on our watch. And so I think the president will have to address that tonight.
And when we, of course, talk about the Democratic side of things, David, what are some of the ways that the Democrats are looking to punch up their economic language as they move into the midterms?
Yeah, I think what they need to talk about is just what every American is talking about. That's affordability. Why do things cost more than they did the month before, right? And I think Donald Trump risks the temptation, like he did last Thursday in Georgia, where he basically said, "Mission accomplished. We lowered prices. We've tackled affordability." If he gets out there and starts talking like that tonight, the Republicans will be in big trouble, because this is the mistake Democrats made last year or 2 years ago, talking about some of the economic successes that the White House had. But the economy is so personal, right? We could take any economic indicator and we can talk about that, whether it's the jobs report, the consumer confidence, the stock market. But if you are not doing well yourself financially, if you can't afford things, that's all that matters. So I think the president has got to have empathy, and that has not been one of his strong suits. So if he does not recognize that and talks about all mission accomplished, all the things he's done, and doesn't talk about what he's going to do, that would be a major miscalculation for the president.
So, Paul, how do Republicans reassure voters that are worried about, for example, higher prices from tariffs?
Well, look, I think tariffs is a two-edged sword in the sense that it also means that jobs aren't being shipped overseas to China. The president obviously is concerned about bringing those jobs back to America. That makes a lot of people, certainly a lot of Republicans, very happy to see that happening. And they understand also the president's trying to use that leverage to get better trade deals in situations where America was getting the raw end of the deal in trade. And so I think people are patient on that. We're a year in. But again, the president's got a lot to brag about with respect to things he's done to set the economy on the right place. The economic numbers are good, but he does have to agree. I agree with David. He's got to address affordability and what he'll do proactively to help.
So we've been tracking the situation in the Middle East closely these past few weeks, especially as the military buildup continues in the region, the largest aircraft carrier in the world on its way to the Middle East. And ultimately, this military buildup is giving the U.S. more options in the region. What those options are and if any of those options will actually be utilized in the immediate future, still unclear to all of us, of course. But David, as we look at the Democratic countermeasures and really the Democratic PR strategy here on national security, how do Democrats counter a tough national security message without appearing weak?
Yeah, I think they talk about the rules of engagement, right? The fact that if the president does want to enter into a war, that he does need congressional approval, that we can't normalize a system that doesn't have the checks and balances that our founders envisioned, that our Constitution demands, and that people expect. So this is something that the president needs buy-in from Democrats, from Republicans, and most importantly, the approval of Congress. But I think this is something that the president does need to articulate why this is something that the United States needs to do, especially since he was the president that was supposed to end foreign conflicts, not be the provocateur and engage in these foreign conflicts. So it is a full 180 from what he campaigned on. And that's what I think is so important, that he articulates, why exactly, how are you going to do this, and why is it important for the American families.
Speaking on foreign policy, let's talk a little bit about Ukraine. Obviously, one thing that we've been following closely are divisions within the GOP on things like foreign aid. Paul, are divisions within the GOP on foreign aid a liability? How significant is that liability?
Well, first, back on Iran, I would just say that if I were the president, I would remind people that Joe Biden left us a dumpster fire when it came to foreign affairs, and the president's trying to clean that up. He's done a fantastic job across the world. And when it comes to Ukraine and foreign aid, the economy is always going to predominate. I don't think those divisions are so serious that if people feel good about the job the president's doing overall, which I certainly do, they're going to come out and vote come the midterms.
Paul, what would be a political mistake for Trump tonight?
Well, we talked about it. I mean, I think the president has to, address people's concerns about prices. I said he didn't necessarily. I don't believe he did cause those. And David pointed out that the Biden administration or that Kamala Harris was having the same issues where they said, well, look at the numbers are good, but people on the ground, people in their personal lives were not feeling it. they were feeling those prices going back to the 2024 election because, frankly, the federal government has no discipline and it's spent too much, driving up costs, driving up inflation. And so the value of our dollar in our pocket is just worth a lot less. President Trump, I don't believe, created that, but he's got to address it now that we're on his watch. And it takes time. I think he's done a great job over this last year, but it takes time for that economy, that ship to turn. He's turning the ship, and I think he needs to reassure people that we're going to be moving in the right direction.
Is the Democratic Party overconfident in any facets or any major issue, David? Does it feel like the Democrats are feeling a little bit better about the immigration policy specifically lately, given some of what's taken place in Minneapolis?
Well, I don't think they're feeling better about it. We have things that we want addressed. We want ICE to act like any other law enforcement agency in the United States, right? To identify themselves, wear a badge, not be masked. Simple due process rights that we expect. We want that to be followed. But I think the major mistake that Donald Trump will make is if he does say that affordability is fake news. If he gets up there and says that, it will be devastating. Now, you ask a good question, and this is what I'm advising Democrats, is that we can't fall into that trap of Donald Trump's making it very easy for us right now. I think we are on a glide path to take the House in 2026. And that's because of things like the hypocrisy that we hear coming from the White House, that we're going to lower prices, but we're going to put tariffs on everything you buy.
immigration, I would make sure to lean into the successes.
You know, David, what's the clearest Democratic message on immigration right now?
Well, I think it's very clear that we can't just keep calling every immigrant a rapist or a criminal, because that's just not true. And the numbers that we see just don't back up what my friend is saying here, that they've deported these rapists and these murderers. No, the most amount of people that are being deported are people that are actually trying to follow the rules, apply for asylee status, and follow a procedure. They're going for the low-hanging fruit. They're not going for the actual criminals. They're going for just wide swaths of areas. And if they were actually targeting these criminals and getting a judicial warrant to go and find them and track them down, we would all feel comfortable about that. But having mass agents, unidentified, roaming our streets and requiring everyday Americans to carry proof of citizenship is absurd. And that's not a community that I want to live in, and most Americans do not want to live in. And they have expressed that. We see that through public polling. It's going through the floor. Trump's immigration policy has gone way too far, because every time we talk about important issues in our society, like crime, like drugs, all we hear from the president and the Republicans is close the border. Okay, we closed the border. Now what? Are you telling me that there's no more drugs? Are you telling me that crime has stopped? No, because it's not true. It's a farce. And that people see through that, and they're sick and tired of hearing everything is to blame on illegal immigrants. Hey, we need to tackle that. Now we need to go towards actual immigration reform and stop targeting and scapegoating people. That's Trump's pattern. Scapegoat, find someone to blame. If it's not Joe Biden, it's Somali immigrants, it's Somali Americans, it's someone else. That only goes so far, and that doesn't make our community better. It just self-promotes one person, one party. That's not the American way, and people are seeing through that.
All right, I'll ask one more rapid fire question to both of you before we go. What is one issue that you're going to be looking at tonight that could shape the midterms? One issue, the economy, of course, is going to be one of the main ones. Other than the economy, what's going to be what is the pivotal issue you're looking at other than the economy that might shape how voters think come November? Paul, let's start with you.
Well, on immigration, I would say I would, again, lean into it. And it's not a farce. You've got people like Laken Riley. They're real people, real moms and dads, angel moms and dads who have lost their children because of illegal immigration. And so it's not at all wrong for the president to lean into it and make it a winning issue. A lot of it is about winning, leaning into these successes. Do not let the left pummel you and the media pummel you into submission. And the president doesn't do that. He leans into the successes. I expect him to be combative and fight and defend all the successes he's had, which are considerable beyond the economy, in his first year in office. I'm so glad he's there. I'm not sure we'd have a country after 4 years with Kamala Harris. And so, Donald Trump, go get him.
One word I'll say, VP Vance was just seen. We are now getting cameras inside the chamber. The VP arriving moments ago. Looks like the Senate Majority Leader, John Thune, also there. All right, one issue that could shift the midterms, David, for the Democrats, other than the economy.
Well, I think it's just the character, right? The bullying that we see. It's only going to go so far. We see this threat against Netflix, right? That they have to fire someone because Donald Trump doesn't like what they said. These type of tactics are wearing on the American public. It's something we haven't seen from an American president, and it really gets us down in the mud. And our president shouldn't be doing that. And I think that's weighing on the American people. And it's one of the reasons why Donald Trump's popularity is falling and why the Republicans will lose the majority come November.
All right, David Carlucci is a former New York State Senator and Democratic strategist. Paul Renner, a former Republican Speaker of the House in Florida, also running for Florida governor. Thanks for the time tonight, you guys.
Great to be with you. Thanks.
Thanks.
All right, so what we're going to do next is we're going to keep an eye on these feeds. It is important to watch as people like the vice president. Eventually, we'll see some of these Supreme Court justices, presumably, enter as well. Amy Klobuchar in the background there. I believe that was Dan Kane we just saw. Got a couple different angles that I'm working with here in my periphery. So what we're going to do is we're going to stay with this. I'm not going to take any breaks. I just want to keep eyes on the chamber. So what we're going to do here between now and speech time is we're just going to stick in the lower chamber of Congress, Speaker Johnson's chamber. The Vice President and the Speaker of the House, they will be standing put right there, basically, throughout the course of the speech. I will also momentarily be bringing in more guests, like White House reporter Christian Daytalk of the Washington Examiner. We're also going to be checking in with Caroline Shively of Fox News at some point throughout the evening. So let's just take this in for a moment. This is the first time we're really getting eyes on the chamber itself as it's filling out. In just a short time, the House chamber will be filled with lawmakers, diplomats, dignitaries, and the country will be watching as President Trump stands before a joint session of the 119th Congress to deliver his first official State of the Union address of his second term. Ted Cruz making his way through the entry there. Some of you guys who might be tuning in might be asking yourself, wait, didn't Trump address Congress last year? Wasn't that a State of the Union? Technically, the first address during a presidential term is not technically a State of the Union. It's a speech to a joint session of Congress. That's what's making this year's address the first State of the Union address during Trump's term. Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts, John Ossoff of Georgia entering. Let's walk you through the sequence of events so you know exactly what to look for tonight. As is tradition, members of Congress will gather on the floor of the House of Representatives. The U.S. Capitol will be buzzing with activity, and around 9 p.m. Eastern Time, the Sergeant at Arms will stand and intone the historic words, "Mr. Speaker, the President of the United States." And that's when all eyes will turn toward this chamber and these very doors as the President enters, takes the podium, and addresses the nation. This place is filling out. Some of the latest reporting I've seen from Fox News indicates, as Leader Thune greets some of the folks in the chamber, one thing I've been seeing from Fox News is we have about 70 lawmakers, if not more than that, who are protesting tonight's speech. They're not even going to show up. There are some events. There's Byron Donalds. He's the representative from Florida. He's also running for governor in Florida. I believe I might have also saw Tim Scott of South Carolina as well. Shelby Talcott with this. Let's take this real quick. Trump is expected to call on Democrats to end the partial Department of Homeland Security shutdown during his State of the Union. I'll read the rest of this tweet while we keep these images up. So it appears Talcott is saying Trump is expected to call on Democrats to end the partial DHS shutdown during his State of the Union address tonight. Per speech excerpts, quote, "As we speak, Democrats in this chamber have cut off all funding from the Department of Homeland Security. They have closed the agency responsible for protecting Americans from terrorists and murderers. Tonight, I am demanding the full and immediate restoration of all funding for the border security and homeland security of the United States." So that was going to be a major question on our minds tonight as Pennsylvania Senator John Fetterman enters the chamber. One of the questions on our mind, Josh Hawley behind him as well. I'm going to be checking to see the DHS funding question, of course, is a big one. That is something that congressional Democrats and the president have been wrangling over in recent weeks. Congress was not on Capitol Hill last week. They took a break last week. They reconvened yesterday, and that is one of the chief priorities that they're going to be discussing. By the way, there's a tight shot of the gavel that Mike Johnson's going to be using. It's George Washington's gavel, I was reading, and this is in celebration of the 250th anniversary of the country. So a special gavel will be used by Speaker Johnson tonight. Still watching as some of these lawmakers continue filing in to the Capitol. There it is right there. All right, let's read this and let's show this. George Washington's gavel. This is Craig Kaplan. George Washington's gavel is being carried into the House chamber for the State of the Union. It was used in 1793, in the 1793 ceremony to lay the U.S. Capitol cornerstone. Mike Johnson is the first House Speaker in history to display Washington's gavel during the President's State of the Union address as America marks its 250th anniversary. A live look back out to what is really filling out here. The U.S. men's hockey team was invited, so there were some questions over how many seats would be required to get everybody into this room that they wanted to get into this room. Certainly the absence of 70-plus Democrats who are protesting this speech, that will presumably make it easier to fit everybody in. This year, the State of the Union address carries its own set of heightened expectations. President Trump himself has signaled that this will be a long speech, longer even than last year's marathon address that set a modern record for length. He says he has, quote, so much to talk about, and with a nation facing multiple domestic and foreign challenges, that's not hard to believe. We were showing a poll on our screen earlier in the evening asking you all, the viewers, to tell us how long you think this speech is going to be. The majority of you all thought this was going to be an over 2-hour-long speech. That would, in fact, be a record for a State of the Union as far as it goes. Speaker Johnson, Vice President Vance at their positions for the night. Also noteworthy tonight will be the attendance roster. Let's talk a little bit more about who will and who will not be in attendance today. Traditionally, members of the Supreme Court, they sit in the chamber as guests of Congress. It's a solemn reminder of our constitutional separation of powers. This year, their presence will be especially symbolic amid recent tensions between the court and the White House over Trump's tariff ruling. That came through late last week. Trump did little to hide his rage last week when the court struck down his policy. He didn't just say that the justices who voted against one of his signature issues, including 2 who he appointed, were wrong on their reasoning. He also said that they were, quote, an embarrassment to their families. Now those justices going to be in the chamber tonight for the State of the Union speech. I'm still watching this vantage point as we watch people enter the room. We've been watching a number of lawmakers enter the chamber. Many members of Congress will be making statements through the guests that they bring. Several Democrats have invited survivors of Jeffrey Epstein's abuses to attend as their guests in the chamber. It's a reminder of ongoing demands for accountability and transparency around the case. President Trump has arrived at the Capitol. We saw the president depart the White House moments ago. The president is inviting some guests of his own.
Present the division. Did he lie? Did he
Including
lie? Of course.
Erica Kirk, the widow of Charlie Kirk, as well as those members of the U.S. men's Olympic hockey team, champions fresh off a gold medal performance against Canada. So really, one of the next things we're going to be doing here is we're going to be looking for the Sergeant at Arms to announce that the president will be entering the chamber. Immigration and border security will be near the front of the agenda. The economy certainly will be front of mind as pollsters continue to say that Americans have lots of economic concerns, especially cost of living pressures like inflation, housing costs, and everyday affordability. The White House claims that it's made the economy stronger, but yet only a minority of voters say that they feel materially better off than a year ago. That divergence is likely to feature prominently in tonight's address. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries there, who has been negotiating with the president over DHS funding in recent weeks. The White House does insist that it's aware of the economic anxiety among voters, and they are working to address it. Bret Baier said earlier today that he anticipates President Trump will make some sort of announcement on taxes for everyday Americans and for corporations. says he will use his speech to call on Congress to formalize a ban on Wall Street firms from buying single-family homes as well. Josh Wingrove of Bloomberg saying that Trump will call on Congress to formalize a ban on Wall Street firms from buying single-family homes. And again, Bret Baier says Trump will call for a new form of corporate and personal tax cuts in his speech tonight, but we don't have specific details. We have not been able to get eyes on the full speech. Excerpts of it have been appearing on social media. So we continue to watch the lower chamber of Congress. Let's pull this up. What are they saying?
On the part of the House to escort the President of the United States into the chamber. The gentleman from Louisiana, Mr. Scalise. The gentleman from Minnesota, Mr. Emmer. The gentlewoman from Michigan, Mrs. McClain. The gentleman from North Carolina, Mr. Hudson. The gentleman from Pennsylvania, Mr. Reschenthaler. The gentleman from Utah, Mr. Moore. The gentlewoman from Indiana, Mrs. Houchin. The gentleman from Oklahoma, Mr. Hearn. The gentleman from New York, Mr. Jeffries. The gentleman from California, Mr. Aguilar. The gentleman from California, Mr. Liu. The gentlewoman from Washington, Mrs. Delbene. The gentlewoman from Michigan, Mrs. Dingell.
The President of the Senate, at the direction of that body, appoints the following senators as members of the Committee on the part of the Senate to escort the President of the United States into the House chamber. The Senator from South Dakota, Mr. Thune. The Senator from Wyoming, Mr. Barrasso. The Senator from Arkansas, Mr. Cotton. The Senator from West Virginia, Mrs. Capito. The Senator from Oklahoma, Mr. Langford. The Senator from South Carolina, Mr. Scott. The Senator from New York, Mr. Schumer. The Senator from Illinois, Mr. Durbin. And the Senator from Minnesota, Ms. Klobuchar.
The members of the escort committee will exit the chamber through the lobby doors.
Mr. Speaker, the Acting Dean of the Diplomatic Corps.
Of course, and I'll just speak for a moment here while there's a pause. Following the president's address, we will hear the official Democratic response delivered this year by Virginia Governor Abigail Spanberger. Spanberger, a former CIA officer and centrist Democrat who flipped a traditionally Republican district before winning the governor's mansion, is seen as a leading voice for the party's
Mr. Speaker, the Chief
pragmatic
Justice
wing.
and Associate Justices of the Supreme Court.
Expect her to focus heavily on kitchen table economic issues like affordability, healthcare costs, middle-class tax policy. Some of you guys may be familiar with the idea of a designated survivor as well. And this is something that fascinates people. Whenever we have a State of the Union or whenever we have a inauguration of the president, there's always one person that's left out of the festivities. And Representative Mike Thompson, the Democrat from Let's listen.
Mr. Speaker, the Chief Justice and Associate Justices of the Supreme Court.
As I was saying, let's talk a little bit about the designated survivor, Representative Mike Thompson. He's a Democrat from California. He's identified himself as one of the designated survivors ahead of President Donald Trump's address tonight. Designated survivors do not attend the president's address in person. Instead, they watch it from a secure, undisclosed location. He says that he was selected and will, in fact, be in an undisclosed location. If there are other, there's Justice Roberts. Kavanaugh. These were the same four that showed up last year. Alito and Thomas didn't go last year. So for those of you wondering who the designated survivor is, we do know at least one of them is Representative Mike Thompson tonight. I'm listening in for any and all cues that will see more high-profile entries. We are waiting for the big one, which will be the Sergeant at Arms, who will introduce the president. So the top issues that we're going to be focusing on tonight, certainly the economy, foreign affairs, like the Russia-Ukraine war, the U.S. military buildup. There's the second lady, Lucia Vance, her and the vice president, announcing that they will be expanding their family. You got to imagine trade and tariffs are going to come up during this speech after the Supreme Court. Again, you're looking at a number of justices there. President's family. Ivanka and Barron in attendance. We saw that President Trump and Melania. It was reported that they arrived to Capitol Hill moments ago. We have not seen them enter the chamber yet. As we speak, First Lady has arrived.
Mr. Speaker,
So as we watch this speech tonight, we're going to be listening for how the president frames issues like the economy, his foreign policy, funding of DHS. President Trump in recent weeks has been hitting the campaign trail, you could say. Traveling to two battleground states, North Carolina and Georgia. The all-important midterms coming up in November. Very
Mr.
well.
Speaker, the President's Cabinet.
They just announced the President's Cabinet. Secretary of State, Marco Rubio. Secretary Pete Hegseth. RFK Jr., AG Pam Bondi, Scott Bessent.
HUD,
We have Kelly Loeffler.
Small Business Administration.
I was banking on her being. I don't know why, but that's who I guessed.
Well, my guess before was Chris Wright of Energy. I don't think we've seen him yet.
That's a good one. We
I
haven't
could
seen
be the
him.
winner of the 50 cents.
Oh, wait, is that?
Oh wait,
or is
I
that
think
Chris
that's him
behind
right
him?
there. Yeah.
Who's behind it? Yeah.
I don't think we have a
Behind Sean
designated
Duffy.
survivor.
I think Christine
tonight.
Secretary, right?
Because Kelly Loeffler of Small Business, she was
That's
by
right.
John Ossoff.
It'd be interesting if we see any. Oh, that's DNI Director Radcliffe. Or
CIA.
CIA.
Oh,
excuse me.
CIA. Yeah, Mr. Ratcliffe, former member of the House from Texas.
And Steve Witkoff, the president's Middle East
Oh, yeah.
advisor.
Good on.
Going to have peace talks with our nuclear talk again on Thursday.
He's been busy.
It's so interesting. John Ratcliffe used to be on all the cable news channels on a frequent basis. And then he became CIA director. We haven't seen him since. When he was a member of Congress, he was always on TV. Oh, there's RFK taking pictures, RFK Jr.
In terms of active members of the cabinet, you're right. He isn't on TV as often as some of them are.
Yeah, and usually the CIA directors aren't.
That's true. It's
As
a
often.
job that's tricky to do the airways all the time. I'm interested if any
Is that John
Democrats.
Duncan? With left gray hair from Tennessee. Is that John Duncan standing there? Yeah, long-time congressman from Tennessee. Oh, there's Don Jr.
I believe that was.
There's Susie Wiles again.
Christy Nome, some
Yeah,
fellow.
Christy Nome, Lee
Some members of-
Zeldin.
Will any
Russ
Democrats get to talk directly with Kristi Noem? I think they'd have
That's
things
right. Okay.
they want to discuss.
Now, Rubio Hegseth. We have not seen Lori. Did we see Lori? Chavez Carino?
Yes,
Okay.
we did see her.
RFK. Chris Wright, we think we saw him. Doug Burgum, Brooke Rowland. Doug Collins.
Doug Collins,
Have we
VA.
seen Doug Collins?
He was a designated survivor last year. He could be.
Because we've seen McMahon, Zeldin, Lutnick, Bessent, Nome, Bondi, Gabbard, Turner, Duffy, and Loeffler.
Wow.
Oof.
double duty, possibly for
There we go. I
the
think
VA
we got it.
secretary.
I think we got it.
Maybe
Doug
he
Collins.
enjoyed his time so much, his
He's-
alone time. I'm always curious what they are doing when they just hang out and watch the speech.
Now, is Doug Collins running for Senate in Virginia or in Georgia? No. Okay.
I don't believe so. He did
Because I
before.
know there's a Republican primary. That's it. He did before.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
so-
there is a Republican primary to take on Mr. Ossoff, who's up for re-election for sure. And I don't think that's been decided.
There's a three-way primary that's pretty tight in Georgia. Buddy Carter, a member of Congress, Mike Collins, and
Mike Collins, that's it.
and then there's Mr. Dooley, who is, I believe, backed by Governor Kemp.
I think what's also notable is this is the same cabinet the president started with. This is the crew that walked down
You're right.
last year
Nobody
for the
has-
joint session.
Nobody has left yet, has
There's
it?
obviously speculation over who will be the first, but yeah, we're now in February and everyone's intact.
And I do not.
Mr. Speaker, the President of the United States.
Try a selfie.
Members of Congress, I have the high privilege and distinct honor of presenting to you the President of the United States.
Well, thank you very much, everybody. It's really an honor. Speaker Johnson, Vice President Vance, First Lady of the United States. Second Lady of the United States. Members of Congress and my fellow Americans, our nation is back, bigger, better, richer, and stronger than ever before. Less than 5 months from now, our country will celebrate an epic milestone in American history, the 250th anniversary of our glorious American independence. This July 4th, we will mark 2.5 centuries of liberty and triumph, progress and freedom in the most incredible and exceptional nation ever to exist on the face of the earth. And you've seen nothing yet. We're going to do better and better and better. This is the golden age of America. When I last spoke in this chamber 12 months ago, I had just inherited a nation in crisis with a stagnant economy, inflation at record levels, a wide open border, horrendous recruitment for military and police, rampant crime at home, and wars and chaos all over the world. But tonight, after just 1 year, I can say with dignity and pride that we have achieved a transformation like no one has ever seen before, and a turnaround for the ages. It is indeed a turnaround for the ages. And we will never go back to where we were just a very short time ago. We're not going back. Today, our border is secure. Thank you. Today, our border is secure. Our spirit is restored. Inflation is plummeting. Incomes are rising fast. The roaring economy is roaring like never before, and our enemies are scared. Our military and police are stacked, and America is respected again, perhaps like never before. After 4 years in which millions and millions of illegal aliens poured across our borders, totally unvetted and unchecked, we now have the strongest and most secure border in American history by far. In the past 9 months, 0 illegal aliens have been admitted to the United States. But we will always allow people to come in legally, people that will love our country and will work hard to maintain our country. The flow of deadly fentanyl across our border is down by a record 56% in 1 year. And last year, the murder rate saw its single largest decline in recorded history. This is the biggest decline, think of it, in recorded history, the lowest number in over 125 years, year 1900. In fact, substantially before my wonderful father, I had a wonderful father, Fred, before he was born, substantially before he was born. That's a long time ago. He wouldn't like me to say that, but that's a long time ago. The Biden administration and its allies in Congress gave us the worst inflation in the history of our country. But in 12 months, my administration has driven core inflation down to the lowest level in more than 5 years. And in the last 3 months of 2025, it was down to 1.7%. Gasoline, which reached a peak of over $6 a gallon in some states under my predecessor, it was quite honestly a disaster, is now below $2.30 a gallon in most states, and in some places, $1.99 a gallon. And when I visited the great state of Iowa just a few weeks ago, I even saw $1.85 a gallon for gasoline. Mortgage rates are the lowest in 4 years and falling fast, and the annual cost of a typical new mortgage is down almost $5,000 just since I took office. 1 year. And low interest rates will solve the Biden-created housing problem well, at the same time protecting the values of those people who already own a house that really feel rich for the first time in their lives. We want to protect those values. We want to keep those values up. We're going to do both. And we are going to keep it that way. The stock market has set 53 all-time record highs since the election. Think of that, 1 year. Boosting pensions, 401ks, and retirement accounts for the millions and millions of Americans. They're all gaining. Everybody's up, way up. In 4 long years, the last administration got less than $1 trillion in new investment in the United States. And when I say less, substantially less. In 12 months, I secured commitments for more than $18 trillion pouring in from all over the globe. Think of it, much less than $1 trillion for 4 years versus much more than $18 trillion for 1 year. What a difference a president makes. A short time ago, we were a dead country. Now we are the hottest country anywhere in the world, the hottest. As thousands of new businesses are forming and factories, plants, and laboratories are being built, we have added 70,000 new construction jobs in just a very short period of time. It's getting bigger and bigger and stronger. Nobody can believe what they're watching. American oil production is up by more than 600,000 barrels a day, and we just received from our new friend and partner, Venezuela, more than 80 million barrels of oil. American natural gas production is at an all-time high because I kept my promise to drill, baby, drill. More Americans are working today than at any time in the history of our country. Think about that. Any time in the history of our country, more working today. And 100% of all jobs created under my administration have been in the private sector. We ended DEI in America. We cut a record number of job-killing regulations, and in 1 year, we have lifted 2.4 million Americans, a record, off of food stamps. And for all of these reasons, I say tonight, members of Congress, the state of our union is strong. Our country is winning again. In fact, we're winning so much that we really don't know what to do about it. People are asking me, please, 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 Mr. President, we're winning too much. We can't take it anymore. We're not used to winning in our country. Until you came along, we're just always losing, but now we're winning too much. And I say, no, 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 you're going to win again. You're going to win big. You're going to win bigger than ever. And to prove that point, here with us tonight is a group of winners who just made the entire nation proud. The men's gold medal Olympic hockey team. Come on in. Go ahead. Thank you. That's the first time I've ever seen them get up. And actually, not all of them did get up. But they beat a fantastic Canadian team in overtime, as everybody saw, as did the American women who will soon be coming to the White House. They were in the Oval Office before. And I just want to say a second very big congratulations to Team USA. But I have to say that, and I told them this, and we took a vote of the team. I said, anybody votes no, I'm not doing it. So they stood there, and they weren't about to say no, because I've never seen a goaltender play as well as goalie Connor Hellebuck. Think of it, 46 shots on goal, and I asked him, the one shot, the one where you put your stick in the back and it hit the neck of your stick and bounced off, do you practice that, or was that a little lucky? He refused to answer that question. But I just want to tell you that the members of this great hockey squad will be very happy to hear, based on their vote and my vote, and in this case, my vote was more important, that I will soon be presenting Connor with our highest civilian honor, which we will be given and which has been given to many athletes over the years. But when I say many, not too many, like 12, it's called the highest civilian honor in our country, the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Great athletes have gotten that, very great, the best, and I thought he deserved it. And I did take a vote, every single one of them. I said, I'm not giving it if anybody goes no, and every single one of them rapidly put up their hand. So I want to thank you all. What a special job you did. What special champions you are. Thank you very much. I'm also pleased to say that the next time the Olympic torch is lit, it will be here in America for the 2028 Olympics, and it's the summer version right in Los Angeles. We're going to do a good job in Los Angeles. And Los Angeles is going to be safe, just like Washington, D.C. is now one of the safest cities in the country. And this year, and I must say I got them both. I got them in my first term, and I was disappointed because I didn't think I'd be the president when this happened. But strange things took place. And now I've got them because I got the Olympics and I got the 2026 FIFA World Cup, and I wanted to claim the 250th, but I didn't get away with that one. I couldn't claim that one for myself. But we're getting the World Cup, so we have the World Cup and the Olympics coming, and that is exciting news. So this will be a year to celebrate our country and the heroes who have kept it free. Men like Buddy Taggart. At age 17, Buddy volunteered to defend America in World War II, serving in the Pacific under the great General Douglas MacArthur. He fought bravely in the famous Battle of Manila, worked so hard. He was badly wounded and almost killed by enemy machine guns in Luzon. And 81 years ago this month, he liberated the largest internment camp in the Philippines, one of the largest anywhere in the world. Buddy earned many honors, including a Purple Heart and a Bronze Star, came home, started a family, and tonight he is in the gallery looking forward to July 4th, 2026, his 100th birthday. So, buddy, you're a brave man, and we salute you. Even in times of challenge, setback, and immense heartache, the spirit of 1776 has always shone through very brightly. It was July 4th of last year when floodwaters tore through a girls' summer camp in Central Texas, one of the worst things I've ever seen. I was there, rising 26 feet in the matter of minutes, tragically claiming many, many lives. You all remember that one. As the waters threatened to sweep her away, 11-year-old Millie Kate McClymont closed her eyes and prayed to God. She thought she was going to die. Those prayers were answered when Coast Guard rescue swimmer Scott Ruskin descended from a helicopter above. Nobody knew where he came from. It was Scott's first ever rescue mission, a young guy, but very brave, very, very top, always top in his class. And he lifted not just Millie Kate, but 164 others to safety. People watched Scott from a distance, and they couldn't believe what they were seeing. The winds were blowing, the rain was pouring, everything was going, and that rapid water, nobody's ever seen anything like it. They said, wow, that's something. Tonight, Scott and Millie Kate are here together, reunited for the very first time. Thank you, Scott, Millie Kate. And Petty Officer Ruskin, I'm pleased to inform you that I am now awarding you the Legion of Merit for extraordinary heroism, which is what it was, extraordinary heroism. Thank you. Come down and take care of the service, military aid. Thank you very much. Take care of that very important service. Thank you very much. From 1776 to today, every generation of Americans has stepped forward to defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And they're really doing it for the next generation. But now it's our turn. Together, we're building a nation where every child has the chance to reach higher and go further, where government answers to the people, not the powerful, and where the interests of hardworking American citizens are always our first and ultimate concern. That is the debt we owe to the heroes who came before us, and that is the promise we must keep to America for our 250th year. Last year, I urged this Congress to begin the mission by passing the largest tax cuts in American history, and our Republican majorities delivered so beautifully. Thank you, Republicans. All Democrats, every single one of them, voted against these really important and very necessary massive tax cuts. They wanted large-scale tax increases to hurt the people instead. But we held strong, and with the great big large-scale tax increases to hurt the people instead. But we held strong, and with the great, big, beautiful bill, we gave you no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security for our great seniors. And we also made interest on auto loans tax deductible the first time, but only if the car is made in America. Recently in Pennsylvania, I met Megan Hemhauser, a devoted mom who's homeschools her children. Beautiful, 2 children, during the day while waiting tables at night as her husband works overtime operating very heavy equipment. Megan is here this evening, and she's happy to tell you that she is so much richer because with no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and her expanded child tax credit done again by Republicans, Megan and her husband will take home more than $5,000 extra just for the year, cutting her tax bill in more than half. Megan, please stand up. We're fighting for you, Megan. Thank you, Megan. We're fighting for you, Megan. Under our bill, parents like Megan can also activate their children's brand new Trump accounts. And I didn't name it. I did not name that. Nobody believes me, but I did not name it. It was named by a very tall man sitting right there in the third row. Nice man, a good man. Tax-free investment accounts for every American child. This is something that's so special and has taken off and gone through the roof. Millions will be pre-funded courtesy of the U.S. Treasury and private individuals like Michael and Susan Dell, who have donated $6.25 billion to fund the Trump accounts for 25 million American children. They're great people. When I asked Michael Dell, how do you make all that money? He said, well, I just sat on my dorm in school and I made computers and I'd sell them to people. And I just kept selling and selling and selling. And pretty amazing story. That's called the American dream. He sold a lot of computers, a lot of those laptops. So I congratulate him on that. But I really thank him and Susan, as well as others like Brad Gerstner, a very tremendous guy. He was behind it right from the beginning. Brad Gerstner. Thank you, Brad. So with modest additional contributions, these young people's accounts could grow to over $100,000 or more by the time they turn 18. Think of it. How much money is that for somebody that started with nothing? Over 100,000, could be much more than that. To make this investment in our children's future, go to trumpaccounts.org. Trump.gov, TrumpAccounts.gov, and a lot of people are doing it. They're setting every record in the book. It's popular. They knew what it was going to take. I'm so proud of them. I'm so proud of the people that got it started. And now it's just taken off. One of the primary reasons for our country's stunning economic turnaround, the biggest in history, where the Dow Jones broke 50,000 4 years ahead of schedule, and the S&P hit 7,000, where it wasn't supposed to do it for many years, were tariffs. I used these tariffs, took in hundreds of billions of dollars to make great deals for our country, both economically and on a national security basis. Everything was working well. Countries that were ripping us off for decades are now paying us hundreds of billions of dollars. They were ripping us so badly, you all know that. Everybody knows it. Even the Democrats know it. They just don't want to say it. And yet these countries are now happy, and so are we. We made deals. The deals are all done. And they're happy. They're not making money like they used to, but we're making a lot of money. There was no inflation, tremendous growth. And the big story was how Donald Trump called the economy correctly, and 22 Nobel Prize winners in economics didn't. They got it totally wrong. They got it really wrong. And then just 4 days ago, an unfortunate ruling from the United States Supreme Court. It just came down. It came down. Very unfortunate ruling. But the good news is that almost all countries and corporations want to keep the deal that they already made, right, Scott? Knowing that the legal power that I, as president, have to make a new deal could be far worse for them, and therefore they will continue to work along the same successful path that we had negotiated before the Supreme Court's unfortunate involvement. So despite the disappointing ruling, these powerful country saving. It's saving our country, the kind of money we're taking in. Peace protecting. Many of the wars I settled was because of the threat of tariffs. I wouldn't have been able to settle them without. Will remain in place under fully approved and tested alternative legal statutes. And they have been tested for a long time. They're a little more complex, but they're actually probably better, leading to a solution that will be even stronger than before. Congressional action will not be necessary. It's already time-tested and approved. And as time goes by, I believe the tariffs paid for by foreign countries will, like in the past, substantially replace the modern-day system of income tax, taking a great financial burden off the people that I love. Right? Moving forward, factories, jobs, investment, and trillions of dollars will continue pouring into the United States of America because we finally have a president who puts America first. I put America first. I love America. For decades before I came along, we had the exact opposite. From trade to healthcare, from energy to immigration, everything was stolen and rigged in order to drain the wealth out of the productive, hardworking people who make our country great, who make our country run. Under Biden and his corrupt partners in Congress and beyond, it reached a breaking point with the Green New scam, open borders for everyone. They poured in by the millions and millions from prisons, from mental institutions. They were murderers, 11,888 murders. They came into our country. You allowed that to happen. And record-setting inflation that cost the typical family $34,000 in just a speck of time. Now the same people in this chamber who voted for those disasters suddenly used the word affordability, a word. They just used it. Somebody gave it to them, knowing full well that they caused and created the increased prices that all of our citizens had to endure. You caused that problem. You caused that problem. They knew their statements were a lie. They knew it. They knew their statements were a dirty, rotten lie. Their policies created the high prices. Our policies are rapidly ending them. We are doing really well. Those prices are plummeting downward. The price of eggs is down 60%. Madam Secretary, thank you. The cost of chicken, butter, fruit, hotels, automobiles, rent is lower today than when I took office by a lot. And even beef, which was very high, is starting to come down significantly. Just hold on a little while. We're getting it down. And soon you will see numbers that few people would think were possible to achieve just a short time ago. Nobody can believe when they see the kind of numbers, and especially energy, when they see energy going down to numbers like that, they cannot believe it. It's like another big tax cut. I'm also confronting one of the biggest ripoffs of our times, the crushing cost of health care caused by you. Since the passage of the Unaffordable Care Act, sometimes referred to as Obamacare, big insurance companies have gotten rich. It was meant for the insurance companies, not for the people. With our government giving them hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars a year as their stock prices soared 1,000, 1,200, 1,400, and even 1,700%, like nothing else. That's why I introduced the great health care plan. I want to stop all payments to big insurance companies and instead give that money directly to the people so they can buy their own health care, which will be better health care at a much lower cost. In addition, my plan requires maximum price transparency. That's a big deal. Sounds so simple, so big. And I did that in my first term, and the Democrats immediately terminated it with full knowledge that they were doing a very bad thing for the people. Costs were going to go way up, and that's what happened, and now I'm bringing them way down on health care and everything else. I'm also ending the wildly inflated cost of prescription drugs like has never happened before. Other presidents tried to do it, but they never could. They tried. Most didn't try, actually. But they tried. They said they tried. They couldn't do it. They didn't even come close. They were all talk and no action, but I got it done. Under my just enacted most favored nation agreements, Americans who have for decades paid by far the highest prices of any nation anywhere in the world for prescription drugs will now pay the lowest price anywhere in the world for drugs. Anywhere, the lowest price. So in my first year of the second term, should be my third term, but strange things happen. I took prescription drugs, a very big part of healthcare, from the highest price in the entire world to the lowest. That's a big achievement. The result is price differences of 300, 400, 500, 600% and more. All available right now at a new website called TrumpRx.gov. And I didn't name that one either, by the way. And here tonight is the very first customer ever to get that big discount, and it is big. Catherine Rayner. For 5 years, she and her husband have struggled with infertility, and they turned to IVF. One drug has been costing Catherine $4,000 to purchase. But a few weeks ago, she logged onto the Trump RX website and got that same drug that cost $4,000, got it for under $500, a reduction of much more, actually, than $3,500. Catherine, we are all praying for you, and you're going to be a great mom. So now I'm calling on Congress to codify my most favored nation program into law. Now, the one thing I'm not sure it matters, because it's going to be very hard for somebody that comes along after me to say, let's raise drug prices by 700 or 800%. But John and Mike, if you don't mind, codify it anyway. They may do it. Codify it anyway. Thank you. Many Americans are also concerned that energy demand from AI data centers could unfairly drive up their electric utility bills. Tonight, I'm pleased to announce that I have negotiated the new Ratepayer Protection Pledge. You know what that is? We're telling the major tech companies that they have the obligation to provide for their own power needs. They can build their own power plants as part of their factory so that no one's prices will go up. And in many cases, prices of electricity will go down for the community, and very substantially down. This is a unique strategy never used in this country before. We have an old grid. It could never handle the kind of numbers, the amount of electricity that's needed. So I'm telling them they can build their own plant. They're going to produce their own electricity. It will ensure the company's ability to get electricity while at the same time lowering prices of electricity for you, and could be very substantial for all of you cities and towns. You're going to see some good things happen over the next number of years. Another pillar of the American dream that has been under attack is home ownership. With us tonight is Rachel Wiggins, a mom of two from Houston. She placed bids on 20 homes and lost all of those bids to gigantic investment firms that bypassed inspection, paid all cash, and turned those houses into rentals, stealing away her American dream. She was devastated. Stories like this are why last month I signed executive order to ban large Wall Street investment firms from buying up in the thousands single-family homes. And now I'm asking Congress to make that ban permanent, because homes for people, really, that's what we want. We want homes for people, not for corporations. Corporations are doing just fine. Rachel, thank you very much. Good luck with your home. You'll get one soon. We're also working to make it easier for Americans to save for retirement. And under this administration, we will always protect Social Security and Medicare. They are not protecting it for our seniors. We will always protect Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. Since I took office, the typical 401k balance is up by at least $30,000. That's a lot of money. We have millions and millions of people, because the stock market has done so well, setting all those records. Your 401ks are way up. Yet half of all of working Americans still do not have access to a retirement plan with matching contributions from an employer. To remedy this gross disparity, I'm announcing that next year my administration will give these often forgotten American workers, great people, the people that built our country, access to the same type of retirement plan offered to every federal worker. We will match your contribution with up to $1,000 each year. As we ensure that all Americans can profit from a rising stock market, let's also ensure that members of Congress cannot corruptly profit from using insider information. They stood up for that. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Did Nancy Pelosi stand up if she's here? Doubt it. Pass the Stop Insider Trading Act without delay. I wasn't sure if anybody even on this side was going to applaud for that. I'm very impressed. Thank you. I'm very impressed. But when it comes to the corruption that is plundering, it's plundering America. There's been no more stunning example than Minnesota, where members of the Somali community have pillaged an estimated $19 billion from the American taxpayer. Oh, we have all the information. And in actuality, the number is much higher than that. And California, Massachusetts, Maine, and many other states are even worse. This is the kind of corruption that shreds the fabric of a nation, and we are working on it like you wouldn't believe. So tonight, although started 4 months ago, I am officially announcing the war on fraud to be led by our great Vice President, J.D. Vance. We'll get it done. And if we're able to find enough of that fraud, we will actually have a balanced budget overnight. It'll go very quickly. That's the kind of money you're talking about. We'll balance our budget. The Somali pirates who ransacked Minnesota remind us that there are large parts of the world where bribery, corruption, and lawlessness are the norm, not the exception. Importing these cultures through unrestricted immigration and open borders brings those problems right here to the USA. And it is the American people who pay the price in higher medical bills, car insurance rates, rent, taxes, and perhaps most importantly, crime. We will take care of this problem. We're going to take care of this problem. We are not playing games. Delilah. Delilah Coleman was only 5 years old in June 2024 when a 18-wheel tractor trailer plowed into her stopped car traveling at 60 miles an hour or more. The driver was an illegal alien let in by Joe Biden and given a commercial driver's license by open borders politicians in California. Doctors said Delilah would never be able to walk or talk, have a good life. She wouldn't even be able to eat again. But against all odds, she is now in the first grade learning to walk. And she's here this evening with her dad, Marcus, a fantastic man. Delilah, please, you are a great inspiration. Please stand up. Thank you, Delilah. Many, if not most, illegal aliens do not speak English and cannot read even the most basic road signs as to direction, speed, danger, or location. That's why tonight I'm calling on Congress to pass what we will call the Delilah Law, barring any state from granting commercial driver's licenses to illegal aliens. And yesterday, as you probably saw at the White House, I hosted a ceremony with Americans who lost their treasured loved ones to the scourge of illegal immigration. People came into our country, how we allowed this to happen with our open borders. These are the angel moms and families that for decades our government betrayed and our media totally ignored. It was terrible. Hard to believe, actually. In 2023, a 16-year-old high school cheerleader named Elizabeth Medina was supposed to perform in her town's Christmas parade, but she never arrived. Her mother, Jacqueline, went home to look for her, and she found her lying dead in a bathtub, bleeding profusely after being stabbed 25 times. Elizabeth's killer was a previously arrested illegal alien who had broken in and brutally extinguished the brightest light in her family's life, violently and viciously. Her heartbroken mother is in the gallery to remind everyone in this chamber exactly why we are deporting illegal alien criminals to our country at record numbers, and we're getting them the hell out of here fast. We don't want them. Thank you very much, Jacqueline. Thank you. We can never forget that many in this room not only allowed the border invasion to happen before I got involved, but indeed they would do it all over again if they ever had the chance. If they ever got elected, they would open up those borders to some of the worst criminals anywhere in the world. The only thing standing between Americans and a wide open border right now is President Donald J. Trump and our great Republican patriots in Congress. Thank you. Thank you. As we speak, Democrats in this chamber have cut off all funding for the Department of Homeland Security. It's all cut off. It's all cut off. They have instituted another Democrat shutdown, the first one costing us 2 points on GDP. 2 points we lost on GDP, which probably made them quite happy, actually. Now they have closed the agency responsible for protecting Americans from terrorists and murderers. Tonight I'm demanding the full and immediate restoration of all funding for the border security, Homeland Security of the United States, and also for helping people clean up their snow. We have no money because of the Democrats, and it would be nice, we'd love to give you a hand at cleaning it up, but you gave no money. Nobody's getting paid. It's a shame. So you have to think about it. We have, in case you didn't know, a pretty large snowstorm out there. One of the great things about the State of the Union is how it gives Americans the chance to see clearly what their representatives really believe. So tonight I'm inviting every legislator to join with my administration in reaffirming a fundamental principle. If you agree with this statement, then stand up and show your support. The first duty of the American government is to protect American citizens, not illegal aliens. Isn't that a shame? You should be ashamed of yourself not standing up. You should be ashamed of yourself. That is why I'm also asking you to end deadly sanctuary cities that protect the criminals and enact serious penalties for public officials who block the removal of criminal aliens. In many cases, drug lords, murderers all over our country, they're blocking the removal of these people out of our country, and you should be ashamed of yourself. And perhaps most importantly, I'm asking you to approve the Save America Act. To stop illegal aliens and others who are unpermitted persons from voting in our sacred American elections. That cheating is rampant in our elections. It's rampant. It's very simple. All voters must show voter ID. All voters must show proof of citizenship in order to vote. And no more crooked mail-in ballots except for illness, disability, military, or travel. None. And this should be an easy one. And by the way, it's polling at 89%, including Democrats. 89%. And even the new communist mayor of New York City, I think he's a nice guy, actually. Speak to him a lot. Bad policy, but nice guy. Just said they want people to shovel snow. They got hit hard. Wants them to shovel snow, but if you apply for that job, you need to show 2 original forms of ID and a Social Security card. Yet they don't want identification for the greatest privilege of them all, voting in America. No, it's no good. No good. Both Republicans and Democrats overwhelmingly agree on the policy that we just enunciated. And Congress should unite and enact this common sense, country-saving legislation right now, and it should be before anything else happens. And the reason they don't want to do it, why would anybody not want voter ID? One reason, because they want to cheat. There's only one reason. They make up all excuses. They say it's racist. They come up with things you almost say, what imagination they have. They want to cheat. They have cheated. And their policy is so bad that the only way they can get elected is to cheat. And we're going to stop it. We have to stop it, John. And here is one more opportunity to show common sense in government. In the gallery tonight are Sage Blair and her mother, Michelle. In 2021, Sage was 14 when school officials in Virginia sought to socially transition her to a new gender, treating her as a boy and hiding it from her parents. Hard to believe, isn't it? Before long, a confused Sage ran away from home after she was found in a horrific situation in Maryland a left-wing judge refused to return Sage to her parents because they did not immediately state that their daughter was their son. Sage was thrown into an all-boys state home and suffered terribly for a long time. But today, all of that is behind them because Sage is a proud and wonderful young woman with a full-ride scholarship to Liberty University. Sage and Michelle, please stand up. And thank you for your great bravery. And who can believe that we're even speaking about things like this? 15 years ago, if somebody was up here and said that, they'd say, what's wrong with him? But now we have to say it because it's going on all over numerous states without even telling the parents. But surely we can all agree no state can be allowed to rip children from their parents' arms and transition them to a new gender against the parents' will. Who would believe that we're even talking about this? We must ban it, and we must ban it immediately. Look, nobody stands up. These people are crazy, I'm telling you. They're crazy. Amazing. Boy, oh boy. We're lucky we have a country. With people like this, Democrats are destroying our country, but we've stopped it just in the nick of time, didn't we? No one cares more about protecting America's youth than our wonderful First Lady, now a movie star. She's a movie star. Can you believe it? Who would have believed that? Over the past year, she has had an incredible impact championing AI legislation, advancing a landmark executive order on foster care, and helping secure $30 million to launch the Melania Trump Foster Youth to Independence Initiative. It's a tremendous, really a tremendous thing that happened and had a lot of bipartisan support. She gets much better bipartisan support than I do. I get none. She gets a lot. Someday you're going to have to tell me how you did that. And students and educators in every state have joined the First Lady's efforts in the presidential AI challenge, keeping America's next generation positioned to succeed and strongly succeed in the future. Tonight, we welcome two young people whose lives reflect the First Lady's impact, Sierra Burns and Everest Nevermont. Thank you both, and Melania, thank you. I know how hard you worked on it. Thank you very much. I'm very proud to say that during my time in office, both the first 4 years and in particular this last year, there has been a tremendous renewal in religion, faith, Christianity, and belief in God. Tremendous renewal. This is especially true among young people, and a big part of that had to do with my great friend, Charlie Kirk, a great guy, great man. So last year, Charlie was violently murdered by an assassin and martyred, really martyred for his beliefs. His wonderful wife, Erica, is with us tonight. Erica, please stand. Thank you, Erica. Been through a lot. In Charlie's memory, we must all come together to reaffirm that America is one nation under God, and we must totally reject political violence of any kind. We love religion, and we love bringing it back, and it's coming back at levels that nobody actually thought possible. It's really a beautiful thing to see. Above all, unleashing America's promise requires keeping our communities safe. We have made incredible strides, yet dangerous repeat offenders continue to be released by pro-crime Democrat politicians again and again. We are honored to be joined tonight by a woman who's been through hell, Anya Zarutska. In 2022, she and her beautiful daughter, so beautiful, what a beautiful young woman, Irina, fled war-torn Ukraine to live with relatives near Charlotte, North Carolina. And by the way, what's going on with Charlotte? Last summer, 23-year-old Irina was riding home on the train when a deranged monster who had been arrested over a dozen times and was released through no cash bail, stood up and viciously slashed a knife through her neck and body. No one will ever forget. There were people on that train. No one will ever forget the expression of terror on Irina's face as she looked up at her attacker in the last seconds of her life. She died instantly. She had escaped a brutal war only to be slain by a hardened criminal set free to kill in America, came in through open borders. Mrs. Zarutska, tonight I promise you we will ensure justice for your magnificent daughter, Irina. How do you not stand? How do you not stand? I'm asking this Congress to pass tough legislation to ensure that violent and dangerous repeat offenders are put behind bars, and importantly, that they stay there. Starting last summer, I deployed our National Guard and federal law enforcement to restore law and order to our most dangerous cities, including Memphis, Tennessee, big success, New Orleans, Louisiana, big success, and our nation's capital itself, Washington, D.C., where we have almost no crime anymore in Washington, D.C. How did that happen? In fact, crime in Washington is now at the lowest level ever recorded, and murders in D.C. this January were down close to 100% from a year ago. They don't like to hear that. One of the sick people, one of the brave service members who helped achieve this stunning turnaround was 20-year-old West Virginia Army National Guard Specialist Sarah Beckstrom. After a 4-month deployment, she had voluntarily extended her service. Her rank was going to be lifted. She was doing so well. They were so proud.
Evening.
But the very next day, she was on patrol.
Technically Christopher, but I always forget. I just go by Chris, brother. I forget, man. Nobody ever uses Christopher. Take care, brother.
And all because she wore the uniform of our nation. She was
yeah, we can keep it nice.
Because he didn't like people wearing our uniform. He was sick.
That is cool.
Shouldn't have been in our country. Sarah Beckstrom died in
Got a sticker over there.
I got my heat gun too, so
We are
stickers
honored to be joined
I
by
learned how to use it now. You just put the heat gun on it and then slowly
Oh, get it.
while the heat gun's on it. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Way down over that side.
Yes.
She was a great person. I saw reports on her. They've never seen anything like her.
So I found out, like with YouTube, the copyrighted music, YouTube has tools for either eliminating the section with the copyright or eliminating the music but leaving the voices so it's not perfect, or putting your own music in there that YouTube will give you that's royalty-free, not copyright. And they
do it on the fly live, or is that after you post after?
After you post it, and then they figure out what's copyrighted, and then you can actually, it'll show you, oh, from minute 23:18 to minute 26:14 is the problem area, and then you can either manually go in and do like a voiceover or something, I suppose, or you could use one of their tools. But it's really nice that they give you those tools. And then your
Sarah and Andrew both shot violently in the head. Neither was expected to make it. They weren't even given a chance, except his wonderful mother, named Melody, who I spoke to the same night. And she was so positive. The doctors thought that Andrew was gone. But his mother said, no, Mr. President, Andrew will be fine. He's going to make it. I've never seen anything like it. I mean, he was given almost no chance. She said, I have no doubt, sir, he's going to be okay. This was a conversation that I had with her that night, with her son laying helplessly in bed, blood all over. Everybody is praying, she said, sir, he will be okay. The doctors didn't understand what she was saying. And after looking at the results of the damage done, neither did I. She was so strong and conclusive that even Andrew's great father felt she didn't really understand the gravity of the situation. But she turned out to be right. Right, Melody? She turned out to be right. Amazing, actually. I said, where does this woman come from? She's the most positive person I've ever met. With God's help, Andrew has battled back from the edge of death, and we're talking about the edge of death, on his way to a miraculous recovery. He's got a little work to do, but he's doing great. Nice to see you. He's a good-looking guy. Nice to see you. Thanks, Andrew. Thank you very much. So, Andrew, while you're up, now I'm going to ask a highly respected General James Seward to present Staff Sergeant Andrew Wolf and the great family of Sarah Beckstrom with the award created by our late, great President George Washington himself. It's called the Purple Heart. We love you all. Love you. We're proudly restoring safety for Americans at home, and we are also restoring security for Americans abroad. Our country has never been stronger. My first 10 months, I ended 8 wars, including Cambodia. Isn't it funny? Sick people. Cambodia and Thailand, Pakistan and India would have been a nuclear war. 35 million people said the Prime Minister of Pakistan would have died if it were not for my involvement. Kosovo and Serbia, Israel and Iran, Egypt and Ethiopia, Armenia and Azerbaijan, the Congo and Rwanda, and of course the war in Gaza, which proceeds at a very low level. It's just about there. And I want to thank Steve Witkoff and
Yeah, Ground Zero. In the chat,
your help.
it's like, is
Thank
that
you,
because
Steve.
you worked
Thank you.
for the Shane? He worked for Radio Shack, and I think he said Best Buy or Circuit City, or no, Blockbuster.
Blockbuster, yeah. I
He's like,
remember.
yeah, I gave away too many free something or others. He drove him out of business. That guy is hilarious.
He is hilarious.
And I also want to thank the
I
man
remember
they
when
report
it
to,
was it Redbox and
Secretary
Netflix.
of State
That's pretty much what
Marco
did the
Rubio.
blockbusters in.
Oh, hell yeah.
Once those came in, man, the world changed.
And watch whatever you want, and then change if it's no good. Why would you go out? You go in there and they have like, 500 copies of Pirates of the Caribbean or
Marco
something,
got
whatever.
100% of the
big,
votes when he was in conference. I think our next one was about
That,
54%.
much better.
And some of the Democrats
Can we
are
see
now
her? Is
saying, I
she
can't
lucky
believe we
shot or
approved
we
that.
have
No, I can see the sign, and you working too.
And he said it's
Look
an
at
honor
that,
that
yeah.
they feel that way, right, Marco?
All right.
You have done a great job, good Secretary of State. I think I've been down as the best ever.
Very satisfying.
Nice.
Should we invite pretend
Under the
media to
ceasefire,
come down
we
here and
negotiated
criticize
every
our
single
work?
hostage, both living
Oh,
and
I'm
dead.
sure.
Stay puffed, he'll be like,
Watching our stream.
they're scratching that sign. I wonder if that's an approved tool.
You know what I like is he said like the graffiti that I removed was his friends tagging. It's like, oh, his friends, would tag one. It's like, oh, I'm so sorry. So it's okay to tag everything. Not right?
Nobody thought that was possible.
This is so much easier.
Both living
Look,
and
I
dead,
just
and those
want,
parents
I want the,
That's got to be gratifying to watch.
they'd always tell me that
I'm not
they wanted
doing
him
this
as much
because
as though
out of
he were
hatred. I'm
living.
doing it because
was,
it gets us content.
You can't
People want to watch
back him
this.
when we got all
Seriously.
the
It's purely
hostages back,
business,
and many,
really.
many
People
people.
like to see neighborhoods
Makes me happy. I mean,
Me too.
But it's their neighborhood, so they
Yeah.
like to see it.
we like to see it. Our buildings like to see it. The apartments across the street like to see it.
Yeah, we think.
This is what our neighborhood used to look like.
Of the dead of the 20th.
Right?
You believe in that?
Yeah, Trump all the way.
Worked along with Israel, and they dug, they dug.
Yeah, I was triggering my roommate tonight with the state
Tough
of
thing to
being
do.
Trump is still your president.
Going through bodies all over.
Did you know?
He's like, I didn't vote for him.
100 bodies sometimes for each one that
Still
they
your
found.
president anyway.
Tough
You know what
job.
always gets
And,
me, just when I bring up a talking point, that the majority, he won the electoral vote and the popular vote, and so many people down here tell me, no, he didn't, no, he didn't.
I
And
remember
I'm
the
just, how do I come back with that?
That's
It's like,
I know.
he won the popular vote, and electoral vote. No, he didn't. Well, then how's he in office?
Yeah, if you
This
say
is what we
it,
voted for, mass
They
graffiti
had their boy
removal.
back. Mother said it, sir. We have our boy back. What a
All
hero.
right.
We got them all back. So thank you both very much.
See, it's bad when we have these signs. Please do not vandalize. We are a nonprofit. We are not associated with ICE.
And we're working very hard to end the ninth war.
All right, so this one you spray painted?
Ukraine, where 25,000 soldiers are dying each and every month. Think of that, 25,000 soldiers
If I
are
spray
dying.
painted over it, it would look better than it does now.
Yeah, this looks
A war
nasty.
Which would have never happened. if
Should I
I
put
were
the gray over it?
I don't know if you can if it's
As
wet.
president, I will make
It looks
peace
kinda
wherever
wet.
I can, but I will never hesitate to
Paint won't
confront threats to
cure and
America
stick properly.
wherever we must.
Something's really bad.
That's
maybe
why
we
in
could have
a
done rag,
breakthrough
but I don't know what
operation
it's
last June, the United States military
That one's not too
Iran's
bad.
nuclear weapons
No,
program with an attack on Iranian soil known as Operation Midnight Hammer.
All right, so we're walking down Bond.
For decades, it had been the policy
No, I
of the
didn't say
United
yes
States
yet.
never to allow Iran to obtain
Oh
a
no,
nuclear weapon.
I'm shy.
Many decades. Since
They-
they seized
they
control
want
of
good-looking
that
people
proud
on
nation
those
47
shows,
years
not-
ago, the regime and its
I think
murderous
so,
proxies
yeah.
have
Well, no, I think it's every
spread
Tuesday.
nothing but terrorism and death and
It's
hate.
every Tuesday.
They've killed and maimed
Yeah.
thousands of American service members and hundreds of thousands and even millions of people with what's called roadside bombs. They were the kings of the
Yeah, that one's okay.
roadside bomb.
Well, what's this?
And we took out Soleimani.
I can't
did
see
that
what it
during
says,
my
but
first
it's
term.
not-
Had a huge impact. He was the father of the roadside bomb.
It's not profanity. It's not that cold tonight. I wore a
And
little
just
bit
over
too
the
much.
last couple of months with the protests.
Oh, well, we got to take care of
they've
this
killed
one.
At least it looks like 32,000 protesters. 32,000 protesters in their own country.
You know what I'm
They
talking
shot
about.
them and hung them.
That's you, Nico.
Stopped them from
No,
hanging a
here,
lot of them.
hold on, let me
Well,
get
it
this.
refers to a certain
Serious
sexual act.
violence, but this is
Oh God, I know. Isn't
some
that great?
terrible people.
Like, why is that
They've
suddenly
already
bad? That's
developed
like
missiles that
It
can
just
threaten
means,
Europe
no, it just means
and our
cats.
bases overseas,
Uh-huh.
and they're working to
Well,
build
you're a cat
missiles
eater,
that
I
will
see.
soon reach the United States of America. After Midnight Hammer,
It's just that one time. I don't know
they
why
were
they have
warned
Should I spray
to
it
make
too?
no future attempts to rebuild their weapons,
Or are we just gonna
in
try and-
particular
Oh, this is a cheap
nuclear
one.
weapons. Yet they continue starting it all over. We wiped it out, and they want to start all over again, and are at this moment again pursuing their sinister ambitions. We are in negotiations with them. They want to make a deal, but we haven't heard those secret words. We will never have a nuclear weapon. My preference. My preference is to solve this problem through diplomacy. But one thing is certain, I will never allow the world's #1 sponsor of terror, which they are by far, to have a nuclear weapon. Can't let that happen. And no nation should ever doubt America's resolve. We have the most powerful military on earth. I rebuilt the military in my first term. We're going to continue to do so. Also, we just approved a $1 trillion budget. We have no choice. We have to be strong because hopefully we will seldom have to use this great power that we built together. It's really called peace through strength, and it's been very, very effective. So thanks to Republicans in Congress, we're investing that record number of dollars, have no choice, in the United States Armed Forces. Also creating a lot of jobs, but we're not even doing it for that reason. Because as I said, we have more jobs, more people working today than ever before in the history of our country. And NATO countries are friends and allies. They are. They're our friends and they're our allies. Have just agreed at my very strong request to pay 5% of GDP for military defense rather than the 2%, which they weren't paying. We were paying for almost all of NATO. Now they're paying 5 as opposed to not paying 2. And getting that 5% was something which everyone said would never be done, could not happen. We got it really easily with one meeting. And big difference between 2% that's not paid. We were paying the freight of many of them. Very few were paid up. Now 5%, then they're paid. And everything we send over to Ukraine is sent through NATO, and they pay us in full. They pay us totally in full. Every branch of our armed forces is setting records for recruitment. This is so exciting. And every service member recently. And every service member recently received a warrior dividend of $1,776. You know, they put it on my desk. We got the money from tariffs and other things, a lot of money we have. We have much more money than people understand. Have to rebuild that program a little bit, but it won't take long. But we got the money, and it was $1,775, and they wanted my approval. And I said, what's the number? $1,775. I said, wait a minute, for $1 more, we can have $1,776. It's going to... I said, we're going to figure that. I never asked anybody if we could afford it. $1 more. I said, $1,776. And I said, that's good. And I'll tell you what, our military, that was 4 months ago, our military, I never see a person in the military that doesn't thank me for it, so we're honored to do it. They deserve it. And we call it 1776. It was great. And we love our military. We love our law enforcement. We love our firemen. You know, the firemen don't get mentioned enough. We love our firemen. We're also... We're also restoring American security and dominance in the Western Hemisphere, acting to secure our national interests and defend our country from violence, drugs, terrorism, and foreign interference. For years, large swaths of territory in our region, including large parts of Mexico, really large parts of Mexico, have been controlled by murderous drug cartels. That's why I designated these cartels as foreign terrorist organizations, and I declared illicit fentanyl as a weapon of mass destruction. And with our new military campaign, we have stopped record amounts of drugs coming into our country and virtually stopped it completely coming in by water or sea. You probably noticed that. We very seriously damaged their fishing industry also. Nobody wants to go fishing anymore. We've also taken down one of the most sinister cartel kingpins of all. You saw that yesterday. In January, elite American warriors carried out one of the most complex, spectacular feats of military competence and power in world history. No one's seen anything like it. Foreign leaders, I won't tell you who, called me and they said, very impressive, very good. They couldn't believe, they all watched. They saw what happened. This is a different fighting force that we had years ago when we fought to tie. You know, it's a great fighting force. I'm so proud of it. Look at Space Force. Space Force is my baby, because we did that. My baby is becoming so important. And America's armed forces overwhelmed all defenses and utterly defeated an enemy, good fighters, to end the reign of outlaw dictator Nicolas Maduro and bring him to face American justice. And this was an absolutely colossal victory for the security of the United States, and it also opens up a bright new beginning for the people of Venezuela. We're working closely with the new president of Venezuela, Delcy Rodriguez, to unleash extraordinary economic gains for both of our countries and to bring new hope to those who have suffered so terribly. They really did suffer. With us tonight is Alejandro Gonzalez. She grew up in a tight-knit Venezuelan family and was especially close to her beloved uncle Enrique. But after Enrique ran for office and opposed Maduro, he was kidnapped by Maduro's security forces and thrown into the regime's really infamous prison in Caracas. Alejandro feared she would never see her uncle again. She feared for her own life also. But since the raid, we have worked with the new leadership, and they have ordered the closure of that vile prison and released hundreds of political prisoners already, with more to come. Alejandro, I'm pleased to inform you that not only has your uncle been released, but he is here tonight. We brought him over to celebrate his freedom with you in person. Enrique, please come down. Thank you, Enrique. Have a good time. Nice to have you back, Enrique. There were many heroes on that January raid to capture Maduro. Really great heroes. It was very dangerous. They knew we were coming. They were all set. But the deeds of one warrior that night will live forever in the eternal chronicles of military valor. Chief Warrant Officer 5, Eric Slover, planned the mission and was the flight lead in the cockpit of the first helicopter, a big, beautiful, powerful helicopter. It was a massive Chinook carrying, as you can imagine, many, many American warfighters. Wearing the dog tags, his wife Amy had blessed with holy water before he left. She knew it was going to be a rough one. Eric steered the Chinook under the cover of night and descended swiftly upon Maduro's heavily protected military fortress. This was a major military installation, protected by thousands of soldiers and guarded by Russian and Chinese military technology. How did that work out? Not too good. While preparing to land, enemy machine guns fired from every angle, and Eric was hit very badly in the leg and hip, one bullet after another. He absorbed 4 agonizing shots, shredding his leg into numerous pieces. And yet, despite the fact that the use of his legs was vital to successful helicopter flight, legs are the most important part of flying a helicopter, to deliver the many commandos who would capture and detain Maduro was the only thing Eric was thinking about. Then, even as he was gushing blood, which was flowing back down the aisle, helicopter lands at a steep angle. The machine gun stood right in front of him. They were right in front of him, 2 machine gunners who escaped the wrath of the previous planes. Eric maneuvered his helicopter with all of those lives and souls to face the enemy and let his gunners eliminate the threat. Turned the helicopter around so the gunners could take care of business, saving the lives of his fellow warriors from what could have been a catastrophic crash deep in enemy territory. Only after safely landing the helicopter with all the warriors aboard in the exact right spot, which was vital to the mission, we probably would have had to maybe cancel the mission if that didn't happen. Eric told his co-pilot, also wounded, but not as gravely, to take over. I'm about ready to pass out. The success of the entire mission and the lives of his fellow warriors hinge on Eric's ability to take searing pain. It was unbelievable what's happened to his legs of the bullets, and keep on flying and landing, and people knew what was happening. Everybody in the back of the helicopter knew because they saw the blood pouring down the aisle. Chief Warrant Officer Slover is still recovering from his serious wounds, but I'm thrilled to say that he is here tonight with his wife, Amy, Eric, and Amy. Come on in. So we have a surprise for Eric and Amy. In recognition of Eric's actions above and beyond the call of duty, I would now like to ask General Jonathan Braga to present Chief Warrant Officer Slover with our nation's highest military award, the Congressional Medal of Honor. Well, thank you very much, Eric and Amy. Great to get to know you. I met with them and with a lot of their fellow warriors at Fort Bragg recently. You notice the name Fort Bragg. We have it back. We brought it back. We won the First World War with it, the Second World War with it, and then they decided to change the name. So we changed it back. Everybody wanted to change back too. And 10 of Eric's fellow warriors from that incredible night of victory will also be receiving medals at a private ceremony that will soon be held at the White House. And Eric will be there. Thank you. Thank you, Eric. That's a big one. Tonight we've celebrated many truly extraordinary American patriots, but there is one last living legend to honor before we go. He is one more heroic American aviator, Navy fighter pilot. Royce Williams served in World War II, Korea, Vietnam, flying more than 220 missions. In the skies over Korea in 1952, Royce was in the dogfight of a lifetime, legendary dogfight. Flying through blizzard conditions, his squadron was ambushed by 7 Soviet fighter planes. It was his first aerial combat of the war, and despite being massively outnumbered and outgunned, Royce led the takedown of 4 enemy jets and almost destroyed the others, vanquishing his adversaries while taking 263 bullets, to his own plane and being seriously hurt. His story was secret for over 50 years. He didn't even want to tell his wife, but the legend grew and grew. But tonight, at 100 years old, this brave Navy captain is finally getting the recognition he deserves. He was a legend long before this evening. Royce, please stand up, and I will ask the First Lady of the United States to present Captain Royce Williams with his Congressional Medal of Honor. Thank you, Royce, and thank you, Eric. I've always wanted the Congressional Medal of Honor, but I was informed I'm not allowed to give it to myself, and I wouldn't know why I'd be taking it, but if they ever open up that law, I will be there with you someday. But you know, that's our highest honor, Congressional Medal of Honor, and that's a big thing, and it's an honor to be in the same room with you. Thank you both very much, Eric. Thank you. Thank you. 250 years is a long time in the life of a nation, but in another sense, it's really a mere moment in the eye of history. Two of the gentlemen we met in the gallery this evening took their first breaths 1 century ago, 100 years before that, on July 4th, 1826, the author of the Declaration of Independence, brilliant, Thomas Jefferson, drew his last breath. Just a single long human lifespan separates the giants who declared and won our independence from the heroes who stand among us tonight. Everything our nation has done, everything we have achieved, has been the work of those few great lifetimes. In those brief chapters, Americans built this nation from 13 humble colonies into the pinnacle of human civilization and human freedom, the strongest, wealthiest, most powerful, most successful nation in all of history. Americans ventured out across the daunting and dangerous continent. We carved paths through an unforgiving wilderness, settled a boundless frontier, and tamed the beautiful but very, very dangerous Wild West. From empty marshes and wide open plains, we raised up the world's greatest cities, Together we mastered the world's mightiest industries and shattered history's monstrous tyrannies, and we liberated millions from the chains of fascism, communism, oppression, and terror. Americans lifted humanity into the skies on the wings of aluminum and steel, and then we launched mankind into the stars on rockets powered by sheer American will and unyielding American pride. We wired the globe with our ingenuity. We captivated the planet with American culture. And now we are pioneering the next great American breakthroughs that will change the entire world. All of this and so much more is the enduring legacy, unmatched glory of the hardworking patriots who built and defended this country and who still carry the hopes and freedoms on all of humanity's backs. For years they were forgotten, betrayed, and cast aside. But that great betrayal is over, and they will never be forgotten again. Because when the world needs courage, daring, vision, and inspiration, it is still turning to America. And when God needs a nation to work his miracles, he knows exactly who to ask. There is no challenge Americans cannot overcome, no frontier too vast for us to conquer, no dream too bold for us to chase, no horizon too distant for us to claim. For our destiny is written by the hand of providence, and these first 250 years were just the beginning. From the rugged border towns of Texas to the heartland villages of Michigan, from the sun-kissed shores of Florida to the endless fields of the Dakotas, and from the historic streets of Philadelphia to right here in our nation's capital, Washington, D.C., the golden age of America is upon us. The revolution that began in 1776 has not ended. It still continues because the flame of liberty and independence still burns in the heart of every American patriot. And our future will be bigger, better, brighter, bolder, and more glorious than ever before. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.
The 2026 State of the Union Address. An hour and 47 minutes long, just about. That would be a record. That is the longest State of the Union in history as the president continues to make his way out of the chamber, taking selfies with the audience.
Good job. Thank you.
Listening to some of this natural sound.
Very well done, We'll see you Friday, Mr. President. Great job.
Oh, good. See you. Thank you.
Well done. Great job, Mr. President. Great job.
Thank you very much.
Excellent speech, Mr. President.
Absolutely. I'm so proud.
Thank you. Mr. President. Mr. President.
Thank you.
Best ever.
Mr. President. Thank you.
Where are you going, man? Thank you for honoring those veterans. Luger.
Good.
I think you should take the rest of the day off.
I think we have to. We're going to have to. Thank you.
All right, guys.
You killed it.
Thank you, Virginia. Thank you very much.
It was amazing. It really was. Home run. Really a grand slam. Grand slam. America loves you. Thank you. It was amazing. America loves you.
Oh, look at this guy. I like that tie. I want that tie. Give me that tie. Thank you.
Take that footage on initial, just an initial.
Thank you, Bob. I like that tie.
Amazing.
Thank you, everybody.
Mr. President, outstanding speech, sir.
Mr. President.
He's getting them all. He's good.
Thanks for mentioning. You did good. They love the insider trading stuff.
Great guy. How's he doing? He's a youngster.
He fell asleep a couple times.
You did amazing. You really did.
Great speech. Proud of you.
Great job, Mr. President. Thanks for your leadership. Mr. President, well done. God bless you. God bless you, sir.
Thank you, fellas.
No best speech yet.
Fantastic. That's a big statement coming from you guys.
Great job. Great job.
Yes, sir.
Love the finish.
Home run hitter. Thanks, great job. Thank you, everybody. Great job. Great speech. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
That was the best speech.
No, thank you very much. Really, the best ever? That's a nice coming from you. That's a big statement.
It's also the longest.
Phenomenal. Great job.
Congratulations,
Also the longest.
Thank you.
President. Thank you so much.
Take care.
Thank you very much.
Still need to talk to you.
Congratulations, Mr. President. Thank you. Mr. President.
That's great.
Great.
Thank you, sir.
And President